What if I told you that one of the biggest threats to dressage riders today is not competition, judging, or even horse welfare, but burnout? The most concerning part is that many riders do not even realize it is happening until they are already deeply affected by it. There is a moment that almost every dressage rider recognizes, even if they have never put it into words. It usually happens early in the morning at the barn when everything is still, quiet, and calm. As you walk in, your horse snickers softly. And for a brief moment, you remember exactly why you fell in love with the sport. However, something feels different. The excitement is not as strong as it used to be. The motivation feels forced. And the passion that once drove you forward begins to feel distant. This is often where burnout begins, not with a dramatic breakdown, but with a subtle and gradual shift. Burnout in equestrian sport, particularly in dressage, does not happen overnight. According to sports psychology, burnout is not simply physical exhaustion. It is a deeper psychological condition that involves emotional fatigue, a loss of motivation, and even a disruption of identity. In dressage, this experience can be even more intense than in other sports because riders cannot simply step away when they feel overwhelmed. Unlike many athletes, dressage riders have living partners who depend on them every single day. A horse still needs to be fed, trained, and cared for regardless of how the rider feels. There are no true days off and no pause button. This constant responsibility creates a unique and ongoing pressure that is difficult to escape. Initially, burnout often appears in physical form. Riders begin to feel tired in a way that goes beyond normal fatigue. It becomes a persistent exhaustion that sleep does not fix. Many riders find themselves lying awake at night replaying their rides, analyzing their performance, worrying about their progress, and planning everything that needs to be done the next day. When morning arrives, they already feel drained before they even step into the barn. However, the emotional effects of burnout are often more concerning than the physical ones. Instead of feeling overwhelmed, many riders begin to feel emotionally numb. They continue their routines by tacking up, riding, training, and competing. But the connection they once felt with their horse starts to fade. The spark that once made the sport meaningful begins to disappear, and many riders struggle to understand why. Sports psychologists often describe the state as functioning on autopilot. In this condition, riders continue to perform, sometimes even at a high level, but without a sense of fulfillment. They may still win competitions or improve technically, but those achievements no longer bring the same satisfaction. At this stage, burnout becomes more than a training issue and begins to affect a rider's sense of identity. For many individuals, dressage is not just a sport, but a central part of who they are. Years of time, financial investment, emotional energy, and personal sacrifice are tied into their riding. When the passion begins to fade, it does not feel like losing interest in an activity. It feels like losing a part of themselves. Despite this, many riders continue pushing forward. They feel a sense of responsibility to their horse, expectations from their trainer, and pressure from their peers, who often appear to be managing successfully. As a result, riders frequently tell themselves that if others can handle it, they should be able to as well. The reality, however, is that burnout is often invisible. Many riders are struggling internally while still maintaining a high level of performance externally. They continue to train, compete, and present themselves as successful, while privately dealing with exhaustion and disconnection. When burnout is left unaddressed, it can have serious consequences. Research in sports psychology has linked burnout to chronic fatigue, anxiety, depression, and long-term health issues. This means that burnout is not just a performance problem. It is a significant well-being concern. One of the challenges in addressing burnout is that the equestrian culture often rewards pushing through difficulty. Qualities such as resilience, discipline, and hard work are highly valued in dressage. While these traits are essential for success, they can also create an environment where rest and recovery are overlooked. There is often an unspoken belief that struggling is a sign of weakness, but burnout is not a reflection of personal failure. It is a natural response to prolonged stress and insufficient recovery. In the equestrian world, the conditions that contribute to burnout are common. Early mornings, long days, financial pressures, competitive expectations, and the emotional bond between horse and rider all contribute to ongoing stress. Over time, these factors accumulate, and eventually they begin to take a toll. As a result, the conversation around burnout is beginning to change. Sport psychology is shifting the focus from simply pushing harder to finding ways to sustain performance over time. The goal is no longer just success, but sustainable success. Research suggests that psychological skills such as resilience, self-awareness, and self-compassion can help protect against burnout. Riders who develop these skills are better able to manage stress, recover from challenges, and maintain a sense of purpose in their sport. However, individual strategies alone are not enough. Cultural change within the sport is also necessary. Burnout thrives in silence, and it becomes less powerful when riders begin to talk about it openly. When riders share their experiences of exhaustion, doubt, and loss of motivation, it challenges the assumption that everyone else is coping perfectly. This realization can be incredibly important because it allows riders to understand that they are not alone. Creating space for open discussion also allows riders to rest and recover without feeling guilty. It encourages them to redefine success in a way that prioritizes long-term well-being rather than short-term results. Success in dressage does not have to be defined solely by scores or competition results. It can also be defined by sustainability, longevity, and continued enjoyment of the sport. At its core, dressage is about harmony, and that harmony extends beyond the horse to include the rider. A rider's mental and emotional well-being is just as important as their technical skill. A rider who is experiencing burnout cannot fully engage in the partnership that dressage requires, while a rider who is supported and balanced is far more capable of achieving true harmony. For riders who are beginning to experience burnout, it is important not to ignore the signs. Feelings of exhaustion, disconnection, and loss of motivation are not insignificant. They are signals that something needs attention. Acknowledging these feelings is not a weakness, but a necessary step towards recovery. Burnout is not failure. It is an indication that change is needed. Taking care of oneself is not letting others down, but rather ensuring that it is possible to continue participating in the sport in a healthy and sustainable way. Ultimately, maintaining a love for dressage is just as important as achieving success within it.